Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Masterminds podcast. I'm your host tonight, Topher Sheeler. I'm joined by my co-host, the one and only Mr. Rob Adams.
What up, what up?
Guys, we have this episode. This episode hits very close to home to me. We're talking about men's work and how to work through problems. And our guest tonight, Mr. Fisher, man, this is something. Rob, go tell him what we got.
Well, John has been on the journey longer than I have. He's been learning and growing, and he is very intentional about his journey. And so I'm excited to talk about some of the modalities, some of the things that is necessary in order to be initiated into this thing we call manhood. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
This is one heck of an episode, guys. You know the drill. We'll grab a quick word from the sponsor, and we'll jump right in.
Welcome to the American Masterminds podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the American Mastermind podcast. Rob Adams here, founder of Thanksgiving Heroes, extending a warm invitation to you to be a part of our golf tournament on August 21st at Thanksgiving Point. We're looking for golfers, whole sponsors, breakfast sponsor, the main sponsor, whatever you want to do, whatever level of involvement that you want at the golf tournament. Please come be a part of it. Click on the link below. Sign you and your friends up to come and play some golf. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Sat down and I had a good conversation that I thought that'd be a great podcast. Almost every time.
Every time. Yeah.
We talk about things that really matter, and I value that in our friendship. But the real reason that I want you here is because of the men's work that you're doing, the journey and discovery of the need or the value of it. Mm-hmm. And I want to share and talk about that and the opportunity of the app and the different things that are going on, because I feel, as I always have, that men, especially in Utah, if you're not a member of the local dogma, mm-hmm. you really have zero resources as far as community goes. And I think a lot of the men's mental health that is in jeopardy in our state is because of this one thing.
It definitely plays a factor.
And so that's why I think it's important, because I just had a really good friend of mine recently commit suicide, a man, and good dude, good father, good man, engaged with a nonprofit, very popular in the community. Like he was a really good man, and you would have never guessed.
How old was he?
He was about our age.
Yeah.
And I miss him. I miss him all the time. And I think about him all the time. And we weren't like best buds. It wasn't like we were hanging out all the time, but he was a significant person enough in my life that I miss him. And I think about all of these people, and I know a lot. I know a few people, as you do. And this message needs to be shared. It needs to be like, why is it important to engage in a men's group? So where did it begin for you that you kind of started your journey? Let's just start with, let's go back one step further than that. Like, when did you start waking up?
I was late 40s, 49 to be exact. And, it really got to a place where I was, where?
You can fucking swear all you want.
He said we could lay down the rules. I didn't know if that was one of the rules. I was really sick of my shit. I was sick of my thought processes. I was sick of my loop. I was just beginning to be aware of my loop. I'm a late bloomer in this world. Like, I was almost 49. I had a friend.
By loop, you mean, how'd I get here again? Here I am again.
Yeah, here I am, unable to sustain a romantic relationship. Anything beyond 9 months was a miracle. If I could last that long, I started seeing that every time things got really hard, I was gone. Right. So the honeymoon 9-month period, everything was
wonderful,
great. And then when we started having hard conversations,
I'm out.
John's out.
Okay.
Did not have the capacity.
So it's a cycle. You have a continuing cycle.
A cycle, and became glaringly obvious. And I just looked, I was like, shit, it's me. Right. And at that time I was actually in a longer relationship, but it was rocky, and it was me. Like, and I really saw it was the same. It was kind of a funny loop. You know, I'd see a girl that I liked and thought she was pretty, convinced her to date me. And as soon as she started dating me, I'd question her judgment. It's like, why the hell do you like me? Right?
Something must be wrong with you.
Something is wrong with you if you want to date me.
Oh my God, I do that. I do this.
Oh my hell, that was
Your
amazing.
judgment must be impaired because
Why are you here?
yeah, you need to rethink this.
Never mind, I just spent 2 months wooing you, but what's wrong with you?
So it was a self-worth. It was a self-love problem.
It was definitely self-love problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it became just, it was under the magnifying glass at this point. I couldn't hide anymore. And this girl I was dating, she suggested a different modality of healing for me. And I was able to track that down in a wonderful guide in California. Started going to see him on a very regular basis. And I got so lucky in finding, he's an older man, he's 78, in finding this individual as to have a positive male role model, but to have a spiritual guide and a guide that saw me as whole. I was a whole human being. I wasn't damaged. I wasn't broken. I was just thinking about things wrong. That's it. You know, and it was really, that really oversimplifies it, but yet it doesn't. It was just my thought processes that were off. And being held to that energy as you're going through these, working through your issues, that you are a whole human being is a total different approach than therapy and any of the other modalities that I had tried.
Because they start with the idea that you're actually broken rather than you're already whole, but you have some glitches. Like I really like that. You actually do that to me now that I say that out loud. I'll be talking to this guy and he'll be like, no, we don't say it like that. We say it like this. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Because I have self-doubting or I have language that I'm using habitually that doesn't serve me or build my confidence. And you've stopped me several times, which is fucking annoying, by the way. I'm going to tell you that, but it's the best mirror. It's something I really love about you, but you've held it. Well, hey, let's rethink that because that's not what you really need to, how you really believe.
And I'll say sorry, not sorry.
Yeah,
I will continue to do that because I don't want to see my friends.
Would you please keep doing that?
I will. I don't want to see anybody suffer in a way that they don't have to, but in that is their journey. But if it's a direct reflection within one of my friends and we're in an intimate setting and conversation, I will always do that.
Yeah.
And I would like the same done for me because I do the same.
Can you put this over in your corner?
Thank you. Sorry.
Down?
I was trying to
No, it's fine. Like, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I would like the same done because we do it. We all have that thought process of just.
Well, here's the thing. Let me restate. It's not annoying in the fact that you are doing it. It's annoying that I say it.
Oh, okay.
When you pointed out to me, I'm like, you know what? That isn't accurate. I need to change that language because it is eroding my ability to be confident or to believe. And I think I'm grateful for it. So I want to be clear. It's not annoying that way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But it's also just process. Right?
Yeah.
You're building awareness and that's just an opportunity to build awareness of how the language you're using about yourself.
Yeah.
And how impactful that can be. It's like I've read and heard things that our language is so strong, we're actually casting a spell on ourselves. I'm saying I'm not good enough. Well, you're fully believing that in every cell of your being. It comes out in your language, in our language,
in my
language.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I used to make fat kid jokes all the time about me all the time. I mean, kind of mean, hilarious, but it was a low hanging fruit. It was easy for me to make a little joke about that. But I had a friend pull me aside, Sheila Benyon. So remember this. And she's like, would you please stop talking about my friend like that? And I was just like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you are being really mean, saying mean things about a person that I really love. And from that day on, not another fat guy joke. I quit doing it. But it was like my regular vocabulary. Like, yeah.
How old were you? Or how old was Sheila?
Sheila, she's probably about my mom's, maybe a little younger than my mom's age. Not quite that much difference in our age, but a little bit older and wiser.
A lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah. But the way that she did it was so kind that I actually felt like I was actually being mean to that kid too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're right. He deserves better than that, you know? So, yeah. Thank you, Sheila, if you're ever watching this.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. That's a beautiful gift.
And that does mark a new record for us to tears.
Yeah.
That's great.
30
Good job.
seconds.
30
Rob's
seconds
trying already.
Normally we get like at least 10 minutes.
Yeah. No, let's start early with this nonsense. So sorry to interrupt your story there, John. So you've met this man. He was giving you the role model that you needed and kind of helping you change your programming.
Yeah. And he was really, I would say, the first, I'll use the word divine, the first divine masculine role model that I've witnessed. And that's not to say anything bad. I had a stepfather and a father, not to say anything negative about them. They only knew what they knew.
They did the best they could.
They did the best they could. But this man, I watched him navigate very challenging situations in a loving, kind way. He wasn't about crime or punishment. He was about, you just don't know better. Let's talk about it so you do know better, and then you don't do it again. So you could stay intact. You could be corrected in your actions and stay intact and whole as a human being and not leave with shame or guilt, which a lot of us carry excess shame and guilt in this world. And the last thing in any situation, it doesn't help to add more shame and guilt.
Yeah. There's a long enough line of people that want to punch you in the neck. Yeah. Why are you in that line?
And it really just boils down to we know or we don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't mean knowing in a way of like, oh, I read in a book or I heard it in Sunday school. Knowing in a way that you don't do that behavior because you know that will impact somebody or community or yourself negatively. So it's a higher level of consciousness of knowing than just knowing.
Okay.
Because once you know, you don't do it.
Yeah.
Like there's a definite line of when you actually truly know something. Yeah, so working with him, I got to witness that. And we'd do some men's work and some things would happen that needed some correction. And I'd witness that and I'd be like, oh my word, there's a different way to be. I got to witness firsthand a different way to navigate hard, sticky situations.
And so in your learning, I guess experiencing that for the first time, are you implementing that into your life right away? Or is this just like a long-term relationship?
It's a long-term relationship. Yeah. I've been working with this guy in particular 6 years, almost 7 years, 6 years now.
Oh, wow.
And actually implementing that way of being, it takes time, right? It's building the awareness, right? It's the same thing as somebody saying, hey, stop telling jokes about yourself. You hear it, and it's the knowing I'm talking about. You hear it and you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, like there's a different way to be, but actually getting it into your consciousness and your nervous system so you're not responding aggravated or crime and punishment is very prevalent in our culture and actually in us as human beings, but definitely our society. We love crime and punishment. So stepping away from that of correction and knowing and not knowing, and that way you can leave intact. So I've been trying more and more. I'm dating a wonderful woman now, and not that we've had anything huge happen, but we've had some sticky, hard conversations and able just to stay in my body and navigate that without any, well, you said this or you did this or
no name calling, no stonewalling, the typical things. Not
even implying wrongdoing. Right? I think where it first starts is implying what you did or said was wrong. I may not have liked it, but that's really how I absorbed it versus how it was communicated.
Interesting.
So I'm really learning how to pull it more into my life. And the tricky part is really looking into our society and seeing where we could apply this approach versus we're heavily into crime and punishment. How do we step away from that and actually be effective, functioning society?
Man, considering society without that principle it's unimaginable for me right now. Like
it's a little scary to think about, isn't it?
It's because it's such a core value. Of course, I worked in law enforcement for 8 years. I don't know if you knew that about me. I was a police officer to some level for about 8 years at the prison and then at the county and then all my experience in the military, the Navy and the Army and all the things that I did, it's very disciplinary oriented. And so I think my brain is geared around that. But as I've grown older, I think that I can see in my own progress that doesn't serve me because then you do assign guilt and shame. And I think we had a podcast just recently about the difference between guilt and shame. where guilt is a necessary thing. Oh man, I probably shouldn't have done that.
You make mistakes.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry that I did that. But shame is identifying with I am bad. I am sinful. And I really love shame. It's my favorite emotion to pack around and to motivate and inspire me to get out of bed and to work hard. And I'm trying to shed that because it's an unsustainable fuel.
It's worse than unsustainable. It's a downward spiral if you hold on to that too much.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I feel like it's gotten me to this point, but if I want to continue to grow and learn and actually feel happiness in my life, I need to surrender that. But I spend a lot of time reverting, going back to, what does Dr. Dispenza say? We have 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 thoughts every day.
Oh, yeah.
And they're almost all just habitual thinking. And we very seldom think consciously.
95% of our thoughts or something.
Yeah. So like a crazy number.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that. And so it's hard for me to break that habit.
That's the practice, right?
Literally, that's what you were talking about. That
really is the practice of that first glimpse of awareness of a thought. You can capture it as an action, but not that it's too late, but that's often where it begins. We start seeing our patterns. But before then, it started as a thought, right? So can we catch it as a thought and not let it manifest
as an action,
and
then a result?
Right? Create that little bit of space in there between when you first feel it or the emotions arise with it, and sit with that thought before you take the next step.
You say something that I think is interesting, and I want to spend some time talking about it because we never have, but you say in my body. Mm-hmm. You talk about that a lot. I want to say in my body. What are you talking about?
It's as men this will lead into the men's work. We are very detached from our bodies. We're detached from our feelings and our emotions, right? Emotions are what arise from our feelings. We're detached from that and to a point that has served us very well. Like that is really, I think, why humankind is where it's at to some degree as far as bridges and roads and infrastructure, because we're good at going into machine mode.
Yeah, doing it,
right? But that isn't serving us in our relationships and within ourselves. We're more than just our heads. We're great at solving problems. It's a beautiful gift we have, but we are so much more. We have these wonderful bodies. They're instruments, they're tools, they're communicators. There's different parts of our bodies that are speaking to us if we listen. And that's what it really comes down to. What one of the foundational things I think is great about doing men's work, and be careful putting the label that it's only men's work, but I'm a man and I'm in the work with men, so we're going to call it men's work, is clearing these channels so that we can gather information from other parts of our body. Like what the saying is, like, I knew it in my gut, right? Like an intuition. You knew that guy was bad the moment he walked in. How did you know that? Right? Because you were in tune with something deep within you that didn't just necessarily come from your brain. We get locked into thinking that everything comes from our mind when our bodies are giving us a lot more information.
Okay. All right. Asking for a friend.
Crap, I'm sitting right here.
Yeah. So how do you intuit then? Because, I've got the heart and the brain. I'll have the gut and the brain. I have a conflict happening almost always in a decision. Like, this is my intuition. My intuition's always right. And I know that I'm coming to that in my old age, but I always try to argue that, well, he seems like a good dude, or this seems like a good business opportunity, or man, I could really make it work with that one girl. Like if we just, I could make it work. Right. Mm-hmm. This is me talking myself out of the intuition. How do you get good at that?
By making the bad decisions is part of it.
Come on, John.
It's part of it.
Here I am.
The other part of it.
Get ready just to fuck up. That's the answer.
It's just life, right? And coming back to the right or wrong, or the in a non-judgmental state, it's just experience.
Yeah.
Right. That helps us learn. Like we love to make it. Oh, I made that wrong decision. I shouldn't have dated her. Well, really, you learned a lot.
Yeah.
You learn more about this. I think ultimately, and this is just I don't think I've been taught this per se. It's just a feeling that I'm feeling within myself. The clearer I get with my feelings and emotions, the more in tune I am with them, the clearer that intuition instinct is, and the more I believe it. I don't have the argument as deep as I used to, and I still do with some things. I'm not saying it's 100%.
Sure.
The clarity makes that clear as well.
Okay. So then the question then should be, how do you gain clarity in that space?
And that's where the work is. That is sitting with yourself, or either in community or with yourself in a healing setting, a very focused setting of getting in and knowing yourself. What is that saying? To know thyself above all else.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey, right? And here's the other thing with men: we're very destination oriented. I'm healed, right? And great, you can heal, and I believe you can be healed and operate from a healed state, but you're not done growing, and you're not done learning about yourself. The moment you think you are, and you put yourself in a box, you put yourself in a box. There's so much more to us. We're infinite beings. And so being with yourself and having reflection of men that are doing the work, that have seen your archetype or seen somebody operating in your space and can reflect back to you what space you're operating from in this particular situation. You can learn more about yourself, of how you operate. Are you operating, the 4 main archetypes? There's an inflated and deflated in each of those. Are you operating in an alchemized, integrated state, or inflated or deflated? Right. And you can really look and go, oh, okay, I can see I got this energy that I'm unavoidant. Right? And that's obviously fear-based, and this, and feel that in yourself. You're not going to think this is what I think is funny about us men. Like, we think we can think our way through everything. And if that was the case, there would be, none of us would have any issues.
Yeah.
Right. We would have 0 issues because we're all great thinkers.
Yeah. We'd all be happily married.
Exactly.
Working in the perfect job.
Exactly.
With a ton of money in the account.
Because we're so good at solving problems.
Yeah.
That's why your head can get in the way of this. Right? Because it'll capture, and that's the other problem. We believe every thought we have.
Yeah.
We think,
I know that voice
coming from us, so it knows what it's talking about. Well, they're just thoughts.
Yeah.
How many silly thoughts have you had that you're like, oh, that's a stupid thought? Well,
I'm thinking a few right now.
Right?
Yeah.
And how do you,
what time is it? Yeah, I got a couple.
At what point do you separate that out, right?
Yeah.
And at what point do you just not believe it and you come in your body and really believe? Like, I've really spent a lot of time in stillness with just my heart. And that's a tricky one for us men. I'll lead like kind of a breath work meditation that brings us into our heart. And so many people are like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? And it's not there. It's just being with yourself. Stillness, quiet, and allowing that, because I think the masculine has so much more capacity than what I've realized in my life and what I've seen. And I'm really feeling it now. And I don't think I'm anything special in this place. I really think the masculine as a whole, not the wounded masculine. I don't use the word toxic masculine. I can't stand that, but misaligned or wounded. The healed, integrated masculine has immense capacity to handle conflict without rage or war. And prevalent in it, I think, in today's world.
Oh yeah.
We have that capacity if we're not operating from a wounded space. So in these processes that I do in these men's groups, it's a beautiful reflection of how we're not thinking properly, or where we're gathering our information from, and what we're trusting in ourselves, which often comes from traumatic childhoods. Unfortunately, there's a lot of religious trauma in our world, which, this is kind of, you think it'd be the opposite, but there's a lot of trauma that comes out.
Oh yeah, it's insidious.
Being raised in a belief that you're a worthless sinner going to hell. Like, it's,
well, any strong belief household has something somehow that is going to program you. That's the thing that is interesting, as you say that. I think about all the programs that I have confronted, and then I think about the millions that are running that I don't know about, that are coming up all the time. And that's why I think the men's work, the men's groups are necessary, because you don't know what you don't know.
That's the best way to say it.
Right.
You do not know what you don't know. But if you're willing to be vulnerable enough, which is another thing that us men struggle with, and step into these groups, you will have an opportunity to have it reflected to you in a loving but very direct masculine manner.
So there's a lot of men's groups that are popping up right now. They're very in vogue these days. There's a lot of different things. If I'm looking for a men's group, what's important? What should I be looking for?
I think you find what is aligned with yourself. There's some people that do like the more Christian-oriented men's groups, and there's plenty of them out there. So if that's what you want to plug into, find that. There's a lot that are in more of the spiritual base. There's some that are in just the, hey, let's just be men. It's almost like caveman type of energy that's within them as well. And I think there's a place for that. A lot of us, most of us men grew up uninitiated. Right? We don't have that in our culture of this transition from boyhood into manhood. So a lot of us are still dragging around our boy. I'm not dragging him around. He's actually running the ship. A lot of us were the boys running the ship. And so going into some of these men groups is a way of initiating yourself. So based off what you feel you need, you could step into it. It could be anything from I know a guy up in Park City, they get together and throw big rocks around, right? And it's just getting back in touch with that primal masculine, which is beautiful. And it works for what he's needing, and for the men that he's calling in, it's working for them.
I've been a part of a lot of men's groups, and some of them are just downright weird. As soon as I get in there, and I've gone, and it's just one meeting where I'm like, not my vibe, not my people. And so I think you can tell right away. I think that's really good that you just look for commonality. I think every man should be looking for something, a group somewhere. And I've been a part of Christian men groups, and there's some that are better than others, or I've been parts of, we've started our own. We've done a few. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity out there. But I think that as men, the advice I would give is don't sit around and wait to be invited.
Correct.
Get to finding something today.
I think that's the beautiful thing that's happening in the male population is that men are searching. And they're hearing it, right? They're seeing it on social media. They're hearing it. And it is a little bit of a buzzword, we'll say, because it's a popular thing right now. But it's a popular thing for a reason. There are a lot of men searching. And I've gone to some of these events at these men's groups where there's these first-timers that they didn't know anybody at the event. They just found it online and they showed up. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, that takes marbles.
That is brave.
Yeah.
Right? To step in and be vulnerable and go. And almost every one of them said, I just need something. I'm searching for something. I have my wine drinking buddies and I don't want to have those conversations anymore. Or I don't want that to be my main conversation. I want to go deeper. I want to find something. I hear that repeatedly. And it's not just somebody's not reading a script somewhere. Like this is a calling from I believe from their hearts and their souls saying, find yourself.
Yeah.
And find yourself through the community of men that are doing this type of work.
I think what I would be looking for in a men's group is a group of men that are going to lift me up and then also be willing to be lifted. That's a big deal for me because, and not in a way that is inauthentic. Like you don't have to do business with me. You don't have to come to my nonprofit. You don't have to do any of those things to support me and lift me up. Do you know what I mean? I want to be lifted up in a way where I know that you believe in me and that you can speak honestly as you do with me. You say, well, let's think about that for a second. And that is important to me. But there's a lot of the times in the men's group, they're doing ceremony or they're doing something that is important to that group, like the bowling league or a motorcycle club or things like that. And that's where I have a hard time finding alignment, is because I'm traveling my own path and my interests vary. Like I was really a big part of the motorcycle crowd, but not so much anymore. It's not as big a part of my life. And so I just think that you could be fluid in that space too. You don't have to lock into a men's group. You can be a part of a lot of groups.
Can I give you my 2 cents on this as somebody like in the heart of this right now?
Let's go.
You got to find somebody, and sometimes, your friends, you can't be vulnerable. Like it's a weird thing. You got to find the group that you can trust to share the things that are going on.
You need new friends.
It's
Do you need to be
Just-
vulnerable with your friends, or maybe you need to redefine your?
I think this. How old are you?
35.
35. That's where a lot of us were at 35. That's a very normal space to be.
What do you mean?
Just the culture of coming through your 20s and your 30s, vulnerability. Like,
Yeah.
come on, like you
Oh, that's a good point.
toughen up, right? And you are like, when I go to these groups, you're the largest demographic that's there.
35
It's
to
so-
40.
So exciting for me, right? To see these younger men from my eyes that are saying something's not right. I need to find this part in me. So yes, you'll find one that you're comfortable to be vulnerable with, but in that, take that back to your friends, right? There's a good chance they're searching too, and they just haven't been brave enough to say it. I think there's a really good chance.
That's great advice.
And the ones that aren't ready, they'll kind of find their own paths, right? They'll be ready eventually. It's not your job to show them the light. It's their job to find it. But
Well, what I meant by that is like you said, you can get caught up. Oh, I want to go bowling, or I want to go to volleyball, or whatever the hell it is. It's just finding the group that you can be vulnerable with. What you do or anything like that has, in my mind, has very little bearing on the goal here. It's the finding of the group wherever that is that you can share the stuff that's actually bothering you. Or you're not trying to stand on ceremony for whatever reason there is.
I think that I love that, by the way. Thank you. The thing that I want to say is that not only do I get to share my heart, but then I'm in a safe enough space that that John could say, okay, well, let's think about that. Let's break that down. And it's not in an attacking way. It's in a way where I can receive it.
Yeah.
And as a man, and I don't know if I'm different than all other men, I've only ever been this one man, but as a man, it's difficult for me to oftentimes receive critical to my thinking information without feeling attacked.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like, sometimes, because most of the time, your friends do need to say, hey, knock your shit off, pick yourself back up. That is a valuable thing to have. You need that.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're actually going through something, sometimes, I can't even believe this is coming out of my mouth. Sometimes you need somebody to just say, hey, here's a hug. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
just saying that is coming out of your mouth in kind of a surprised way shows that there's a space that needs to open up there.
Exactly.
That should be, fuck, I need a hug. I'm having a rough day. I'm having a rough stretch. Like we all as men carry a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility. We need to be held too. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right. And then we dust ourselves off and we get back up and we keep going. But just that feeling, suppressing that is what's causing a lot of issues for us.
Oh yeah.
A lot of issues. But this is a space, I know you said that you have a hard time receiving critical information. I think is kind of how you said that.
Oh yeah. I'm super smart.
Yeah. Herein lies the problem. Herein lies the challenge.
Yeah, there it
right?
is.
That's the challenge right there.
Oh yeah.
Right, of actually being able to receive criticism or I like correction, or just let's illuminate some awareness is all, right?
Well, in criticism, I like how you say that. I don't mean to be critical, but I mean to give me another way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Another way to think about yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the problem.
And that's what if you're in the right group, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And the group I'm in is called Sacred Sons. They've done amazing work, but they have this oath that we all take right at the beginning, right? To come in honest, authentic, open, and trying to think of all the words that we commit to, but like, and to keep it, it stays in the room. If it opens up here, you're not sharing it with anyone else. Like there's this sacred energy that we're creating to step into this, so we can be vulnerable, knowing that whatever comes out of us will be held in that room by our brothers who can hold it. And so starting off that way creates that space that you're talking about. Like, I've got some shit, and I know I have some shit, and and I need to do something. Or,
I'm going to be vulnerable for a second. The reason that I haven't signed up for Sacred Sons or the Man Project, or there's so many good ones out there, is because I'm such a joiner. I'm fearful to be because of the way that I was raised, indoctrinated or fall into a belief system, because I really do. I want to be aligned. I like the pack. And so I'm fearful to align with another group because I don't want to fall in with a bunch of crazy people that are going to pour shame or guilt onto me, because that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
And so you saying that out loud really made me think about that. Why haven't I? Because we've talked about the Sacred Sons before, and I'm like, okay, that's great. But and I know you're not trying to convert. There's not a pitch there.
I'm not on commission.
Yeah, you don't get. There's no extra for getting me to sign up. You're saying that because it's working for you. It's something that you have found value in, and that's why you've shared it with me.
There's a piece that I think it goes along with what you're saying that really, I won't say sealed the deal for me, but made a big difference for me. Because you see all these men's groups out there, and you look at them and you think, oh, they operate like businesses. So
yes,
Sacred Sons doesn't want to compete with Mankind Project.
Right.
If anything, they'll cannibalize each other, right? And in talking to Adam, who was one of the co-founders of Sacred Sons, he was telling me that a lot of these men have their own men's groups that they're running back in their home city, right? And so they actually want that. They want you to be living your life in your way, under your banner, under your flag. It doesn't have to be a Sacred Sons flag to be part of it. And to me, that's the divine masculine.
There it is.
Right?
There's not a
cooperation.
Right. Motivation is cooperation.
Not competition.
Their motivation is cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Where I don't want to be on this team. I don't want to be on anyone's motivation. Do you know what I mean? I'm a autonomous broken person as it is. I don't need to align with other broken people.
I think if you're, here's what I see as the test of good leadership. If you're leading men to lead themselves, you're a good leader. If you're leading men to follow you, then jump off that ship.
Yeah, that is a what do they call it? A cult? That's the beginning of a cult.
It's so easy for us because we are like, oh, he found the answers, right? This guy is so cool.
He's got it together,
and he's charismatic, and I got to be like him.
Yeah,
we need to be us. We need to be the fullest expression of us, and be in a culture where that's not only encouraged but supported and
celebrated.
Celebrated.
Yeah.
Be your own unique self, and like, here's some tools. Go run your own group. Start your own brand.
Wow.
Do that. Like, I know a guy here in Utah has one called Fellowship. His name is Earl Sagewolf. Coolest dude. You might want to have him on here. Just an amazing guy. He's running his group, and he's one of the co-facilitators at Sacred Sons.
Earl
Sagewolf.
Earl, I'm coming for you, buddy. That's cool.
And it's supported, right? It's not only supported, it's encouraged to do the work here. And if you want to do a Sacred Sons event, great. I could throw one in Utah tomorrow. If I rounded up enough people, found a venue, I could get those guys to come and do one. Actually, we do one in Heber in January. But you could do one under the Sacred Sons banner if you want, or you could do your own. I think that's an important piece of true masculine, of like, we're all in this together. If we're fighting with each other, we've been fighting each other as long as we've been alive.
Yeah.
It's time to cut that shit out.
I like that.
It's not working.
I really like that. Thanks for sharing that, because that has been one of the reasons that's kept me from ever joining, because I don't want to be me against anybody. Like, oh, you're in that group? Oh, you should come try my group. It's the group. No, that's the dogma that I left. I'm over that.
Doing that our whole lives.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, ours is right. Yours is wrong.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing it that way. You should do it that. No, don't shit on me. I don't need it.
Do what works for you, and I'm going to be over here doing what works for me.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. That's actually, I've been thinking about that quite a bit. So you are now in this with the Sacred Sons. You're in this space, but what was the thing that made you want to align or need to align in that regard?
On my healing journey, back up a little bit. Most of my wounds came from the masculine. My childhood wounds, my childhood trauma that I carried through, most, if not all, came from the masculine. And I found it so ironic that my healing was coming from the masculine. Sitting with this man that was a beautiful reflection of the divine masculine, in the group with doing these group projects with other men, and being held in the space of the masculine that was healing. at first, when I first started doing it, this can't be right. Like, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't safe. I need to get the hell out of here. But as I relaxed into it, my healing was coming from these men's groups. And it's just grown into a desire to do it on a regular basis with a different set of men, like coming in and sitting in ceremony together. But in this process, I really felt the power of the healing power of the healed masculine, and want to help others find that. And so I started doing some research and seeing, is there a tool out there? Like you're saying, it's hard to know what group to join. It's really hard, right? And I'm like, there's a lot of groups. There's a lot of national groups, hard to find local groups, really hard to find what they're about, right? In finding that. So I thought, well, I'm going to build a website to do this, right? So I started building this website. I'm like, I'm building a website to help men find men's groups, but I've never really like formally joined one. I've done one-offs, but I haven't formally joined one. I'm going to research and see what's out there. And so I started researching, and there's some great stuff. There's the Mankind Project. There's some that are more like faith-based, sound like great groups. And I really didn't have a full intention of joining, but I pulled up Sacred Son's site and started reading it and started seeing what they represent. And I was like, God, these guys are cool. Like, I want to be part of this. And so I joined some random event. I got set up with a call with one of the co-founders. His name's Kale. He's in Maui. And I had a call with him, and he's like, why'd you sign up for this event? I'm like, I don't know, dude. It was just an option. He goes, oh, I could tell you've been doing your work. I think this will be a better fit for you. So they put me into this other group, and I had another call with the other co-founder, Adam. And I just felt it. I could feel with these guys that they've done the work on themselves and that they're in it for the right reason. You know, it's a tricky space, right? When you make a business model out of healing, it's tricky. But they do it beautifully. The costs it's not crazy. And I could just feel that they're really aligned with helping men truly see themselves for what they are. And they both have the gift, and they train and teach other men to help co-facilitate or to go off and run their own groups. They have some great techniques, work what works for you. And so I guess the other part of the story is I joined this group, and most of the men are in your age band by far, 35 to 40. So I would say that's the sweet spot. And now I find myself as the elder in the group, which I tell you, buddy, is really weird to be the old guy and to be looked at. And I can kind of feel that they're wanting some elder energy. And they we had a discussion about, I talked to Adam about it and Kale, and they want to have like honorary uncles that are the elders that are also doing the work and that can provide the wisdom or the support when needed from an older set of eyes, from a different experience.
I like the uncle. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that is exactly what it is. I can speak 100%. That's why we do this podcast. It's like 3/4 of this. There's a gap. And my age bracket, you 35 to 40, we are on the cutting edge of it. The people behind us, they have a whole different, now they need a hand down, and they're going to come to this eventually. Mm-hmm. But I'm the last generation that remembers seeing the Elks Club, Moose Lounge, and all of that stuff. And we're reaching a point where, again, personally, I'm run aground. Mm-hmm. I need help, and there is, like, I swear to you, inherently, I got to find it, like knowing I got to find a group is a thing. And I always identify it with, like, we used to work together. Now we're working at a computer. Even if you're in the same office building, you're not working with other men. But it's not how we were designed.
It's not shoulder to shoulder.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to be out in fields in, Alan, I think, calls it the third space. You have a work mask, you have your dad mask, and you got to have the place where you can take off all the masks. Mm-hmm. And that's just how that works. So no, it's almost like a calling. That's why doing this podcast, I sometimes sit over here because you guys are preaching to me. This is the safe place. So what you're saying is 100% true. We need it. And frankly, the world is too damn hard right now. You know, gas being at $5, it's like, Jesus, that too? You know, we're trying to get families off the ground. We're just trying to survive. And it feels like from every angle, you're getting attacked on all fronts. And I don't know what to do.
You said it was a calling. I think you're spot on with that. I think it's a deeper resonance that's happening within us men, of that connection of the good, clean, masculine energy. Because we do have you have gaming buddies, or you have some buddies that you can hang out, but it's not satisfying your soul.
Mm-mm.
Right? It's not calling you up. That's what I like about these men's groups. They're going to call you out, but they'll do it in a loving way. But they're really calling you up. Like, let's step up to the fullest expression of who we are. And I feel like that's lacking in a lot of us. It's definitely systemic, as we don't have any initiation in our culture. There's no really transition from boyhood into manhood. And then you start having kids, and there's no really support besides, unless you're part of a church or something. There's not a lot of support around these transitions. There's no initiation even in going into elderhood, which a lot of cultures have that. Like, oh, okay, this is your new role and responsibility. Like, I can feel that responsibility, and I want to fully step into it. And I dare say you're feeling the same. Like, there's something deeper than just a buzzword you heard.
Well, to me, now, give myself one point. I'm smart enough to actually think about the problem here, right? My entire life, men have been, the toxic masculinity thing is bullshit. It doesn't, because that's not real masculinity. But throughout my entire life, you can go down to like Homer Simpson, all the TV shows. The dads are blubbering idiots. You know, the whole entire time we've been told, don't go into your masculinity. Don't go. When in reality, you want to work through stuff. The core tenets of masculinity are the protect, provide, and preside. You know, duty, honor, and respect. Chasing happiness is this is different. This isn't a negative. That's a female thing. That's not how guys operate. And we got to be around the men that give us that duty, honor, and respect. Where's the hill to charge? That's how you line your head up.
You're spot on of that calling of wanting more. Yeah, you're dead on with that.
It makes it very hard, and like, you do have to have good friends, because you can run into situations where it's beyond your control. You know, you can only take so much. Any one person can only take so much. We were really designed to operate as teams.
We operate as teams, but you're part of what you're doing in this practices with these men is expanding your capacity, right? So like the true, you can only handle so much at this point in your life, but as you grow and access these parts of yourself that you haven't been in touch with, your capacity is immense. The masculine capacity is absolutely immense. And that's part of like flexing that muscle and learning that is part of what I'm doing in these men's groups. And most men are coming to this realization like, oh my God, like I can feel it in myself now. Compared to a year ago, I can feel more capacity. And it's just going to keep going.
Of course, we are made for more. And there's, you know, I have a professional athlete background. Yes, you understand that. But I think you identified with it. Like, it's not just, I by myself can only take so much, right? And sometimes it takes somebody else to come in and say, hey, pull one of these out, start writing this shit down. It's going to help. You know, and you don't see that. Then like to your point, oh, now I've got a little capacity. I now have an outlet to go and scream at, you know, and it does work. It helps.
Yeah. I think that space of being held by the masculine, like a band of brothers, like there's definitely an energy. There's relationships that grow. There's trust that grows, but being witnessed by your brothers in your vulnerability in your healing space is almost as impactful as you actually doing the work, right? Like that offering of just, they're not telling you how to fix yourself, right? They're just giving suggestions, the good guides. The guides that aren't quite there yet will be giving you suggestions on how to do it, which is a cautious line to walk when you're in this work, because you can really see each other in these spaces, but the guy doing the leading from the appropriate way will allow you to come into that place yourself, and it's just being witnessed as you do that. You got all the wisdom in the world right inside you.
Already
in there. It's just been covered up by trauma, scars, not thinking correctly. But you have all the wisdom already in your body, an immense amount of wisdom. And this is just a tool to help you tap into what's already there.
That's amazing. I love it. I love that. I think about this consciousness around the male energy, the being present, being in your body, feeling your feelings. And we've talked about this before on the podcast. Like I don't have time to feel my feelings. I've got things that need to be done. I'm a doer. I'm getting it done. And I'm grateful that I've had that capacity to be a high volume doer. But at the end of the day, being a doer, you don't really know who you are. You can't find the ultimate thing that men need, and that is fulfillment, in my perspective. Fulfillment is the knowing, the loving of myself, the confidence that all of us men, I should say me, that I'm envious of. I see men with that level of confidence, that knowing, that spiritual swagger, so to speak, of them being they're enough, they're complete. And I think that is the journey for me, is the becoming complete. And I have younger men that look to me and they think, oh, that guy's got it all together. But then I think, man, I don't know anything. I'm 55 and I'm just coming to the point where I know that I don't know. Like it's so infinite on the things that I don't know, but the things I do know, I've come hard earned through the school of hard knocks, but there's no other way for me. I want to align this. So here's my question. Here's where I'm headed is, as I've grown and I'm looking for that role model, I can't find one. I've never been able to find a role model who is physically healthy, financially sustainable, spiritually sound. I'll find someone who is wildly healthy, but they are broke as a joke. Or I'll find somebody that has a tremendous amount of money, but their kids hate them. Do you know what I mean? There's no good role models in the world, in my perspective. And so what I've had to do is like find a guy that is like spiritually, that guy, he's got it going on, but he should never open a business. He should never run. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a business owner. I have to run a business in order to make ends meet. And so what would you say in that space? Like, how are you finding these healthy role models?
It sounds like you're looking for the imaginary, the older we get, like none of us have our shit together.
Oh man, that is so true.
It's such an illusion, right? And putting that expectation on someone else before you set them up as a role model, you might be selling yourself a little short in that aspect of it.
That's a good point.
Right, of just,
there's no such thing as grown-ups.
And watching how that individual navigates his shortcomings is probably the better test of whether he'd be, and I don't know you put anybody on a pedestal period as far as role models, but somebody that you can look to as how he navigates. Like we all
I just want to learn.
We all have blind spots.
Yeah.
Like we all have shortcomings. Like I see my guides, like the guy I've been working with 6 years. I had him on a pedestal for the longest time, and now I can see the cracks in the armor, and I can see his humanness. And I still love him dearly, and I'm still grateful for everything that he is. But I witnessed that. I'm like, okay, that's just maybe my learning of how to spot that or feel into it, and still, God, we're just human, right? And this expectation you have on yourself, I want to go into a piece that you said about you don't have time to allow yourself into your feelings. You're robbing yourself of life.
I know.
Potentially. And in that space, like this is part of the work, is you can allow the feelings. They don't have to emote and turn into energy that's sending your ship a different direction or taking you somewhere you don't want to go. But allowing yourself to feel and just being with it. Not even, I would say allowing is the first step, but just being with the feelings, but still being able to move on with your day, right? And do the things you still need to do. I think if you allowed that, you would actually find more capacity in your doing space, because you're carrying some stuff there, right? You're carrying some, you're stepping over some parts of just being human. And we all know they don't go away. Just because you went around them doesn't mean they're gone. They're still there. And there's an opportunity to work with some of that and see if that capacity might shift. You might be able to do more. And we could go a whole bunch of different directions here, Rob.
I appreciate that, and I want to say that I think that's bullshit. because it's just unimaginable. I know you're right. Let me just say that. I know that you're right, but man, I don't today, if I showed you my calendar, I don't have time to have a breakdown. I don't have time.
That's true until it's not.
So far, so good.
Well, breakdown's the extreme. The breakdowns, if you keep at this pace, the breakdown's going to happen. If you don't allow yourself to feel and be with your feelings, that's what causes breakdowns. Being with your feelings doesn't mean you can't make your 3:30 appointment, right? There's two different animals that you're talking about here, right? It's the being a little bit more in tune with yourself to feel that and go like, oh man, that really pissed me off. Am I going to carry that into my next meeting when I'm asking for a check from my nonprofit? No, I'm not going to. I have the ability to still feel that and let it be with it, and go in and still be an open, loving soul.
Okay, so that's the part. There it is. I have a difficult time switching it off, and I've really struggled with depression in my life. So maybe it's because I'm fearful of ending up in bed for a month at a time. I don't have a month to spend in bed feeling sorry for myself, having a pity party. And actually, because I had that struggle with depression, I know you want to say something. I don't want to derail it. Because I had that struggle with depression, I'm fearful of feeling depressed. So I spend a lot of time writing my gratitudes, raising my frequency, going to the gym, armoring myself up against feeling any kind of a way. But the problem with that is these are all modalities in not feeling. And I know that people use modalities like alcohol or pornography or all these different things to block feelings. And mine are just these hacks that I've done, which really have worked great for me on raising my frequency and having a good day, giving myself permission to do it. But just the idea of being so conscious of I think that I'm a pretty emotional person. I think that I would just be like a crazy person all the time. Like, God, I'm already a crazy person. What am I even saying? If you know me, I'm a lot. And I know that. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it just is terrifying to think about feeling all those feelings.
I think there's a difference between allowing yourself to feel and becoming. Right? If you stay in that feeling and add the emotions to it and become it.
Identify with it.
Yeah, it becomes part of your identity. Then you end up in bed depressed. But man, things happen in life. You should be sad. We all have grief, right? And we'd love to tiptoe around grief and avoid grief. Grief is a natural part. I've gotten a place in my life where grief will come up. I don't even try to identify it. I don't have to say, oh, this is because I lost my brother when I was younger. I don't have to attach that to it. I'll be driving in my truck and I'll just start crying, and it just flows. Just let it flow. I don't even try to wonder where that came from. I've got past that. I'm just letting it be. It's just part of who we are as humans. We want the joy. We love the joy. We don't want the grief. I heard this beautiful African proverb that says, if you want joy in your house, set up a room for grief. It's the yin and the yang.
It's necessary.
It's part of life. It's part of being human. And I think you have great tools that you've created.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw those away, right? Those are beautiful tools to help navigate your vessel. And you could add a little more of it. Give yourself the time to have a little grief ceremony or just feel it.
Yeah.
Pencil it in. And that's the funny part. It's like the male brain wants to put it on the schedule. This is another part of life that really isn't a scheduled part, but maybe you could give yourself some space and some silence to just be and not question whether you're doing it wrong or right. Just be with yourself. And almost in a meditative state, but meditation often gets people anxious of they're doing it right. And, I have too many thoughts. I'm a horrible meditator. So sometimes I like putting that label on it. Just give yourself some stillness and be with yourself and see what comes up. It's okay. And I tell you, this is with intellectuals. This is tricky.
Okay.
Because intellectuals are really good at giving you the counter argument. What they're really doing is giving themselves the counter argument as to what's worked for them for so long and why it'll work for them in the future. And my only argument is, if it wasn't working, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Word.
Exactly. And I know that I know that this vehicle has gotten me so far. Like I keep saying, you'll hear me say that quite a bit. I've gotten here. Thank God that I have the life that I do with the tools that I've got. But I know that there's more. There's another level. There's something else. I can live a happier life. I can live a healthier life. I know that. It's just doing it and being brave enough to do it, because that's what it comes down to. I've really got this dialed. This shit show that you're seeing right here, dialed.
And it's worked great.
Yeah.
I mean, look what you've done. Like, it actually has worked great.
Yeah.
But at some point, this is where we need to be. Let's be curious.
Yeah. Be
Right?
curious.
Okay, this has worked, and it had to, based off of childhood and raising kids yourself, getting married. Like, you had to have this in order to have this life. Right? And you can ask the question of, do I still want to keep doing it this way?
Yeah.
Right? Like, just
That's
because
the crisis.
I have done that doesn't mean that I have to continue. Or you can keep doing the things, but kind of transmute it to a little different energy. Like, you're doing it from, oh, I don't want to be depressed. How about you do it from like, oh, this is a beautiful expression of Rob. I love this part of my life of who I am. So you're not fighting against this dark story per se, and you're being Rob.
Be Rob.
The fullest expression. Here's a belief I've gotten in doing this work. This world needs each of us to be the fullest expression of who we truly are. Period. We need that.
Yeah, you saying it out
Each of
loud
us.
is, I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
I believe that that's what the mortal experience is about. Like,
coming
period.
from that wounded state.
Yeah.
That wounded state is part of you, part of your experience, part of created who you are in the training, right? All the stuff that we're going through is just training. Like, you're training yourself, right? Come through that, and in that, like, what skills do you have? Like, who are you? Like, what's your purpose? Like, what's your joy? What do you have? Like, we need all of us to come into this state. We've been fighting and killing and doing all this stupid shit for so long. And we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And at some point, enough's enough. And how do we get into this space? Do our own work, right? Come into peace within ourselves, so that we can be at peace with others.
Powerful. That's powerful, John. I've got to tell you, I'm a journaler. I've been journaling. We talk about it. I've got whole pages dedicated to lunchtime with John, because we have talks like this.
I can see it wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I thank you for sharing that with me. I'm going to have to noodle on that, because I know you're right. What you're saying resonates with me, but am I ready for that? Am I ready for that step? I think now that I've said that out loud and you've said that, one of the reasons I've run away from these men's group is because when they hold up that mirror, I'm like, oh, this is weird. I don't like how I feel. Feelings. Ew. And out I run away quick.
There's two necessary components to step into this, and the first one is readiness. So I couldn't drag you, but I could try to drag you into a men's group. It's not going to do any good.
Right.
Like, you have to be in the space ready, and often with readiness comes openness. And with those two key ingredients, you can sit with those feelings, right? And be at least curious about what's there.
All right. I'm going to have to believe you, because you're freaking me out right now, John.
I've gained a few ideas as I've gone through my life.
That's good stuff, man. I love it. Well, listen, John, we've had a good talk. Here's the thing. And I want to talk about two things before we wrap it up. Number one, how can I, what is the website? Is that still a viable?
It is. Yeah. I'm actually
tool?
adding to it. It's arisedivinemasculine.com.
That'll be in the notes. I want everyone to take a look at that. If you're looking for something, here's a great resource.
The tool it's early on, so I'm really in the phase of trying to get people on. So there's the two components. The first component is to help someone find a men's group. But in order to do that, I have to get the guys that run men's groups on there, register their site, put their mission or their vision statement, so that these people looking can get a feel for who you are and see if they align with you.
Okay.
And it's all done. It's international, so it's all done based off your location. And then the second piece of that is the men that run men's groups. I've talked to a lot of them, and they're running these groups, 8 to 10 guys, 20 guys. They don't use this exact language, but they feel like a drop in the ocean. Am I making a change? I think they are making a change. I love the work that they're doing. However, my vision is to gather a network of these men that are running men's groups into a larger collective of supporting one another so that they can really feel that they're building a tidal wave together. They're creating a tsunami.
You know what I love about that is a lot of these men's groups, their missions are quite similar. And what resources could we share? We don't have to be united in everything, but what if there was
that's the next piece we're building out now. Earl's actually helping me.
A Bear Lake trip, and we're renting all the cabins up there, and we're doing like it's just a big men's. You get what I mean?
You get 200-300 men that are doing the work. It's a different energy than you've perhaps experienced before. It's totally. Completely different. So we're building out another tool on the site. A resource for men that if you want to start a men's group, you can have a training guide, training videos, access to Earl, who's done a lot of work in training men, so that you can have a place to start. If you got the desire to start a group, but you don't really know how, we're going to build out a toolkit for you, and then that may have a subscription fee to it, but the rest of it's all free. So you have this access to it to where you can go create. You got the desire? Great. Go for it.
In this resource, is it breaking down like, why do you want to do it? What's your modality? Like, because it seems like a good idea. I know a lot of people that want to start a nonprofit, but they don't really have any. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you've got to have, the calling has to be a real thing.
Yeah. I'm not going to drill into their why, because if they go do it and they figure out this isn't their thing, that's okay.
They still got to try.
They got to try. And so I don't want to get into that. All I want to really do is build this structure that if you want to, here's some tools. We'll actually build it out so they can create a landing page for their own group right off Arise Masculine, right? Arise Divine. So they can have a landing page to share with people. So they just to make it a little easier to have this place to launch.
Brilliant. I love that. Thank you for doing that. If I wanted to learn more about the Sacred Sons, how could I do that?
They have a great website. And I think the beautiful thing about those gentlemen, they have a structure that you can have conversations. They have Adam and Kale who run the organization. They're a little harder to get a hold of, but they have some very incredible men. There's Alec, there's Neil, there's Earl's part of this, there's Mason. There's these really good men that you can actually have time to have conversations with that will sit down with you and see, make sure that you're aligned. It's like just because they think you're a good fit for them, maybe perhaps they say, hey, maybe you got to do some work here before. I don't know that they've ever declined anybody, but you can at least have a conversation and see if you vibe.
All right. And then this is I've asked this question to a lot of people, and I'm going to ask it to Uncle John, the wise advisor. Let's say I'm a younger man. I'm 35 years old. I'm just getting things going. I'm just starting to discover that my modalities are not working anymore. I've come to the end of relationships, friendships, maybe a partner in life, maybe my wife. All of these different things are happening. The sand is really coming out from underneath my feet. What advice could you give that young man who is maybe at rock bottom? What words would you give to him?
Well, I think one of the first things I have said to men at rock bottom is I've expressed gratitude, and it's not morbid, but I thank them for being there, because this is a better place to start than thinking that you have it all figured out, right? Because you're taking all your beliefs, like all the belief structure you had, and you're like, shit, this doesn't work. You're at rock bottom. That's usually what happens. That's that infrastructure of beliefs you've had gone.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a beautiful place to start from. And that would be, find your community. Like, this is like, I hear it in the way he's talking about it. He's searching for himself. I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry.
Topher.
Yeah. That you're searching for it yourself, right? I can hear that. Like, find that community of support, of aligned, and I'll say men again in this scenario, but this is true for women too. And there's great co-ed groups and there's great women's only, but in the men's work arena, there's a lot going on, and get aligned and put yourself in it. Be vulnerable. Like God, do what we've been doing. It hasn't worked, and that's okay. You've learned a lot. now going forward, what can you do? Like put yourself in a different setting, different influences, and see what happens. I dare say that that ship's going to turn around.
I love that. I think the advice I would give that person, and I've been that kid, is congratulations. Like, as you're saying, like, this is a great place to be, because that was in that space was the first time I ever took the pen and started to write my own story. Up until then, my story had been written by my mom or my dad, my drill sergeant, my church leader. There's so many other people that held the pen that were like next, and the next thing that you do, and now, and so on and so forth. And I did the things out of duty. I did the things out of respect, because the people that were telling me to do the things, to behave a certain way, I absolutely loved and adored, and even modeled. I modeled that. I put them on that pedestal. And hitting that rock bottom, and I took that pen for the first time in my life. What do I want to eat? How do I want to look? What do I want to drive? Who do I want to spend time with? In asking those questions, I shed or lost a lot of relationships along the way, because as I increased my frequency, I start talking about things that make maybe my partner here sitting next to me uncomfortable, because I'm learning and growing. And then that's when I started to find my real group, my real crowd. And I think that would be the advice that I would give you, is take the pen and get very intentional about what you want your story to look like.
That's beautiful advice.
Yeah. And so thank you for sharing that. And when you shared that, like, it really resonated with me. I'm grateful, because I needed to hear those words. Mm-hmm. But that's my experience too. I wanted to share that. And I don't want to overtalk you, because you're the guest here, and it's important that we're sharing that message. Yeah. Is there anything else, any other words of advice you would offer?
Yeah, I got a core belief I carry around with me. I think every single human on this earth is just fucking amazing. Absolutely awesome. They're not operating from that space. They're operating from their wound, but you start releasing that, becoming who you are. Dude, we're amazing. We just simply are amazing. We just like to compare ourselves and all these other stories we have that kind of, make us smaller. And it's just not true. We're creators, we're lovers, like we're amazing. And I love helping people realize that, because I'm learning that myself. It's a big thing I learned about myself.
Thank you, John. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's been very fun.
All right. Well, if you've enjoyed our podcast today, please like and share. Take some time to go check out the websites. We'll have some links in our notes. And become engaged. Do the thing that you need to do that is necessary for you to take that next step, to find out who you are, what's important to you, what were you made for, and lean into that. And I'm grateful for the message today.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Catch you on the next one.